Hey, good morning. My name is Dr. Cheryl Meier, and I'm a psychologist for the last 20 years. And I'm on a walk, but this morning I woke up and I kept hearing Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd. And so I was just contemplating on it for maybe 2 hours. Maybe I fell back asleep. I'm gonna go over to this path. Let me show you where we are because it's like sheep's ground. All right, so like I said, I've been a psychologist for the last 20 years, and I'm also a licensed lay minister. If you need to know my qualifications, and I studied Hebrew and Greek, and this was written in Hebrew. This psalm by David, a king, so it was written by a king who went through many ups and downs and experienced life. He just poured his heart out to God, to the divine love from which we came. And so we can learn something from a king, because he was also a shepherd. He was a shepherd king, so he knows about sheep. And so I'm going to get to a place up here where I stop, but imagine how this comes about. Morning. Where if we are souls, if we come from the divine and we are souls, then our souls are drawn back like a magnet to the divine. We're drawn back, whether, like Plato says, we come into this world into forgetfulness. But our souls long for unification with the divine. We long to be back with the divine. And to understand the divine. And understand the divine in us if we're made in the image and likeness of God. Of divine love. Then we long for that. I breathe because it's like I get revelations in my mind, and it's like I let them come in and blow the other stuff out, But you can do this. I make these videos to teach you so that you can learn how to do this yourself. And this poem or song, psalm is the word for song, and I love songs. Songs go beyond our defenses. This song will teach you how to do that. I'm always teaching about songs, actually. This is just what I do. Because I've found as a psychologist, we can stay in our head about problems. I got my little Leia. But the songs help us enter into our heart. And so if you imagine a king contemplating the divine and wanting to understand and describe the divine so that we can all relate, we can all know, he goes from his experience as a shepherd as well. And I want you to know what was coming to me this morning was that, Hebrew letters are a little bit like Chinese letters. They form a picture. The letters are a picture in themselves. And so just like a picture, like a work of art, like I went to the Van Gogh Museum Morning. You can just sit and stare at his paintings and enter into them. And, you know, the more depth and consciousness you have in your life, the more layers you'll get in his paintings. And also how deep and conscious or simple and present that artist is. Art is so important. You'll see it's in this. However deep and present that artist is, they can help raise your consciousness to that level. And so all of the inner work you do in your life is worth it for everybody. What you do to, as Rumi says, and I welcome all religions here. I hope you all feel very welcomed. But Rumi was a Sufi poet. And he said, you know, do not seek for love, but instead seek for all the barriers within yourself. To seek to remove all the barriers within yourself between you and love. Look at that. The sun was just shining. All right. So, as you remove those layers, and that's what this psalm will teach us, as you remove those layers, you'll experience and know love more and more. You already are this because we're made out of the spark, out of the image of God. So I'm also part Cherokee Indian. So I accept that visions are a part of my heritage. But visions come to you anyway when you yield yourself to something that is truly higher, like if you want to call it the Holy Ghost, or anyway, I won't go into all the different names, but look at this view. The ocean's right over there. I saw this in my mind's eye. I was like, oh, I have to go here to teach because there's a valley and it's just beautiful. All right, so what I was going to say about the Hebrew letters is know that what I'm teaching you is, it's like the pictures that are coming to me, but this is it's like the words are alive, they're alive, and they're meant for you to enter into the words, and I'm just entering in and walking with you to help you understand a little bit more of what David is saying in this moment in my understanding that's been revealed to me. But like this same psalm can have 1,000 more layers later, so don't be limited by what I'm teaching you. All right, let me get here. I'm gonna sit on this rock. All right. So if we go, let's start. I think I covered what was coming to me about what to remind you guys to think of first. All right, so welcome. Thanks for being here for this long. It's worth contemplating on, but it's your choice. All right, so I brought it with me, but I know it before my grandmother died. I think my grandmother and her family were Jewish, but they converted because someone came to their village and taught them something else, but they had to, their relatives were being killed in front of them in the Bolshevik Revolution. My grandmother, not on the Cherokee side. She was in a German town in Russia. But anyway, but before she died, she kept saying this to me. She was saying, Cheryl, you know, the Lord is my shepherd. Therefore, I lack nothing. And so if you look at what does that mean? If you go, the I am is my shepherd. A shepherd takes care of sheep. The shepherd knows where the food is and knows how to protect from lions or wolves or whatever's out there. Yeah, lions. And the shepherd knows where the good food is. So the Lord is my shepherd. Okay, so go back to if the word Lord is like the I am is my shepherd. If you when you connect in quietness back to the I am within yourself, Christ said often, that's what I was saying, is that the I am, you know, I am the way, I am the true vine, I am the living water, I am the bread. So when you say I am, other people have described it this way. Other people have described it, you're describing your divine nature. If we're, and the Native Americans say, Matakiwashin, we're made out of the spark of God, and we're in the mind womb of God. We're all in God's dream in a way, you know. And so if David was this shepherd that spent so much time in this quiet place, then he had time, this is where he had time to make these songs, these comforting songs, you know. Morning, Maya. So I'll figure out where to go. Come on, girl. Come on, girl. Okay. So it's also a viewpoint. So on the weekends, I'm on a Saturday, so the bikers come up. I'll go over here. Sometimes I go here. So the Lord is my shepherd. The I am, if you think of, so get out of your head. I got to get out of my head too as well. When you get into your I am, you get into your isness, you get into your deeper self, the part of yourself that's without a name. Let's get nature.
Black one? Yeah. Okay.
when you're in this place and you surrender and you let the I am be your shepherd, the isness of God, the divine, when the Lord is my shepherd, then I lack nothing. There's nothing I lack. I'm not in lack because, okay, so we come from the singularity, we come from the oneness, and we move into this duality. We're now living in the up and the down, the right and the wrong, the black and the white, the fast and the slow, if you think of the heavens are, I was reading a mystic book last night, but it was talking about that the heavens are like one eternal day. It's one long day. You're just in, even Einstein said linear time is made up. So if you think of, okay, when you let go of everything and surrender into the divine, I think sometimes I have pauses in my videos so that only the people who will enter into the silence with me will stay. You know, it's kind of like an initiation, and I'm not doing it on purpose, but it's like so that you'll stay. And if you can fast forward, then, you know, I don't know if it's best to fast forward or just sit through the silences, because they come in our own lives, and I don't want to just rush through them. They're there for a reason. Sometimes it's my fear, because we're going into something deep, and I only want the people that are true of heart, you know, to stay. But I welcome you all here. But these places, they're not easily come by. I'm not just reading something from a book. It's from what's written in my heart. And I just know as a psychologist, it's good medicine and it will bring healing to you. So I'm surrendering my own inhibitions to go there. And I don't want to force myself. It's not easy, but I'm practicing more and more. It's been 2 years I've been doing this on video form. So just bear with me if you'd like. You know, remove instead the barriers between yourself and love. Do not seek for love. Instead, remove these barriers. It's just going back in my mind, perhaps. So anyway, the Lord is my shepherd. This is when you're going. This is where you're going to be in a secure place, when you let the divine shepherd you, not your egotism, your fleshly desires, your what promises to fill you up in the immediate. It always says it will, and then it leaves you broken and heartbroken again, and wanting, and and lost. You're lost again. You get lost again. You're like, oh, I got disillusioned again. Look at that sky. But when I connect back with my divine nature again, with the I am in me, if we're made in the image and likeness of God, then we're made, it's like out of a spark of God, or like a drop of ocean of God. And so when the drop goes back into the ocean, it feels the oneness with God. And so when you let go of this mind chatter, you know, that, and the drama in your life that keeps trying to pull you this way and that, and keeps trying to, it wants you to just keep feeding mind thoughts, because it gets a certain high. Your body gets a high from feeding and going back and staying in mind thoughts and ruminating. But I want you to be free. I want you not, I wish all like mental illness would just disappear. And I want, and a lot of things people call mental illness, I feel like, you know, those labels can be important in whatever way, in whatever capacity. But also there are just ways we're in balance, because we've been pulled into ways of operating that are not the highest ways of operating. And anyway, so the Lord is my shepherd, and therefore when the I am, you know, because when Moses said to God, what is your name? You know, what shall I say your name, or what shall I call you, or what shall I say your name is? He said, I am the I am, the I am. And so that's isness. And if you don't understand your isness yet, your isness is this. Take a deep breath. And drop into your heart, you know. And think of if your own mom, you know, if she saw you, if your mom's loving, if not, then your grandmother or someone that's loving, you know, would see you. And just like, let's say they didn't even know your name at the moment, you know, for whatever reason, they just see you and love you. And it doesn't matter, oh, that's the song that came to me. I want to put this song in the description here. I made a 1 minute skating reel last night just from roller skating with this song from childhood that my dad used to play me. You know, he just used to play it. And it was an old Chicago song. And it was like, when I'm with you, doesn't matter where we are or what we're doing. You know, it's like, I'm with you and that's all that matters, you know. When I kiss you, I feel 1,000 different feelings, you know, and I look at that like the divine, like the kiss of the divine, which is going into this divine, this union with the eternal. It's like the kiss of an angel, I call it, you know, or the kiss of God. You feel 1,000 different feelings. I don't know how to describe them, he says, you know. It's just such a beautiful song. It makes me, and he says, mostly I'm silent in the song. It's just such a beautiful song. I can't wait for you to hear it. It was just playing in my mind with this psalm. They were both intermixing this morning. So I got this beautiful, loving, happy feeling. It was just beautiful. But so I always want everyone to know that. But so back to when you're in your eternal essence, your isness, and your grandmother or your mother or your, you know, if you have a loving father, or just imagine a loving father, you know, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It just, you're there and you're feeling this love and it's flowing through you, you know. I'm sure no matter what you've had in your past, you know, is you've had one of these moments. This could be one of the moments, you know, where you just feel love and it doesn't matter what your name is. Your age doesn't matter. You're just in your isness, you know. It's just like two kids on a playground. And one of my friends posted the other day and she said, live each of your days with the confidence of a 4-year-old in a Batman t-shirt, you know, or whatever, you know, or Wonder Woman. Approach each day with that kind of confidence, right? So it's kind of like, okay, so when the I am, when this isness, which is connected to the divine, when the Lord is my shepherd, you enter in, you learn more of what that is, how how to surrender to the divine. Now, oftentimes in childhood, if we had some kind of traumatic experience, then it's difficult for us to surrender to the divine because, we had these big giants that were in our lives. We were little kids, and, they betrayed the trust. And so it's like my advice to that, I don't often give advice. I mean, in that way, in that straightforward way. But what I've learned, I'll just say what I've learned, is that the divine is divine love. It's perfect love. And the divine will take time teaching you the nature of itself and the nature of that love. And so, but it's like you learning to trust more and more slowly over time. And then it just feels so good because you're in the arms of divine love, But anyway, as you learn how to be more like that, there's a verse that says, Saint John said it, I think, in 1 John, is let us love one another. When you love, you know God, for God is love. So when you are more loving to yourself, that means sober, you give yourself sobriety. That's a good thing to give yourself. It's not a bad thing. Balanced life. Wild, of course. I'm wild and free, but I give myself sobriety as much as I can, and I want to be responsible in all areas of my life, but the more you treat yourself with true dignity and respect and forgive other people, the more I was stuck in bitterness and feeling heartbroken from my past, the more I didn't realize in doing that, even though I taught it, I didn't realize a way that I was doing it. You get hypnotized in your own BS belief systems, and so I was and so I'm just telling you, for your own sake, is I was not forgiving, and I was still waiting for someone else to come, unbreak my heart. Unbreak my heart. Not one person, but like my parents, my past, my blah, 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 blah. Like every person that contributed to breaking my heart in some way. But I was the one. Elliot sang, I had a friend, Elliot Smith, and he sang it. Nobody broke your heart. You broke your own 'cause you can't finish what you start. I love him. He's passed away, but so it's like I didn't know I was grabbing on this heart. It's like this reminds me to drop down from my head into my heart. Look, always and forever. That's the divine, and my friend Elliot. He loves me always. He's connected to the divine now in a more I won't go into that more, but further right now. But when you forgive, you free yourself up for your heart not to be broken anymore. And so what I'm saying, because you let go of their debt, you take all the debt that people owed you and you just give that to God and say, hey, God, here, you take care of that. I want all the love to flow through me now. So I accept and receive your love. It's not just saying it, it's learning how to take that. And so when you align more, if God is love, as you align more with God, you know more love. And as you treat yourself in truly loving ways and have boundaries and remove yourself from people whose ways are constantly destructive. And I'm not saying if you're in a marriage to divorce the person, I'm saying separate yourself from people who are constantly destructive in their actions. And so you can have some silent time to learn what it is not to be like that toward yourself. And then you practice not being that toward yourself. And then you have these internal boundaries because you've learned to say no to yourself, and then you can learn to say no to other people. However that can look in your life. And even you can do that mentally. You don't have to do it you don't have to do it physically unless you're in physical harm's way, and then you can get help and do all that stuff, right? But so anyway, the Lord, when you learn and you keep learning and ask the divine to help you, always just ask. If the Lord is my shepherd and I was like a sheep, I could say, if I could speak, I could say to the shepherd, hey, I'm lost in this area. Please help me. Like, I don't know, I'm just a sheep in this way, I follow the patterns of my past. I follow the programming that's been given to me. Help me break this program. This video is helping you break that program. Because I'm always asking the divine to do that. And so I trust that the message that came to me this morning was for all of us, I will be with you always. My love, I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. This is always and forever. That's what this is. I wondered why I put this on, It's like my Beatles sweatshirt. Peace and love. Peace and love. All right, so the Lord is my shepherd. So what does a shepherd do? We'll find out. It's right here in the passage. And therefore I lack nothing when I'm in this quiet place. And I learned, I've done lots of things to quiet this. Like one woman suggested, because this is what helped her, going for 30 days without social media, without movies, without any music, except for uplifting music of some kind. So she suggested a fast, and I did that, and it really did help, because you don't realize how many voices you have coming into your and not having any conversations with friends, like none, unless they're specifically encouraging friends that are committed to a higher path, and you're only talking in those conversations. So I recommend her. Latoya Okia is her name, Okeia, on social media, mostly YouTube and stuff. But that was her beast mode class, I think, and I took it. I love her. Everyone has faults and stuff, so I can't guarantee that anyone will stay on this path, but she's definitely on it. But anyway, that's this one person that's looking for the divine to be her shepherd, and so we can get encouragement from this. But ultimately, it's this: go straight to the source, right? And so she was just teaching me, just like other monks and desert fathers and mothers, and Torah commentaries and all these things have taught me in my past, and Rumi, how to silence all the outer stuff, so that you can. Nature helps you do that. Look. Wish you could breathe in this air with me. Just breathe in the air that you're in. It's a little bit chilly. It's just beautiful. So, the Lord is my shepherd. When you get into this quiet place, and Lele, come here, girl. It helps you get in this quiet. The quiet is always in you. It's always in you. I've done meditations where I found the quiet, I found beautiful places inside that you never knew were there. Christ said, the kingdom of God is within you. That's true. It's true. We are in this world, but the kingdom of God is within us. I know it from experiencing it, but I can't make you have that experience. I can just... Anyway, let's listen to the King David, as he teaches us. as he learns how to comfort his own soul in the troubles that we experience in this duality. We're in the yin and the yang, the up and the down, the good and the bad, the difficult and the easy, you know. We can get caught up in it. So I'm teaching you not to get caught up in it. When the divine is my shepherd, then I lack nothing, because you see, you're not in any kind of lack. Then you experience yourself as sort of being in this matrix, like you're just in it, and you chose to be in it. Come here, girl. Come here. She thinks it's our house. She's got to protect us. Come here. So you feel and you experience that you're in the matrix. So it's like you lack nothing when you're in the matrix, because you know, not just like the movie, but you know that you experience yourself like the Native Americans say, you're in the mind womb of God. You experience yourself as in God's dream. And so I was taught by Guy Red Elk, you know, Native American Christian shaman, if you want to know. He said, work the dream, Cheryl, work the dream. You're just in a dream, so you can relax, you know. And I don't want you to like lose touch with reality by just saying, I'm in a dream, you know. The Beatles sang about that. I'm only sleeping when I wake up early in the morning. Stay in bed, I'm still yawning when I wake up in something in the middle of a dream. Da da da, float upstream. Please don't wake me, no, don't take me. Leave me where I am. I'm only sleeping. I have that song on my YouTube. You can look it up. It's beautiful, beautiful. It really teaches you how to be in Zen. I had to do a soul song on that. I have a webpage called Your Soul Songs. I'm not trying to promote. I'm just saying what else I have. I have many different ways of innovative healing, because I want everyone in the world to know healing. And so I just keep finding ways for us to know it in beautiful art ways, because Dostoevsky says in the end, the world will be saved by beauty. I think art will show us the divine, you know, more than just words, more than just, you know, talk therapy where it's like we're stuck in our drama and all those problems. So I use songs a lot. Morning. All right, so that's why I do it, but it's called Your Soul Songs. And I want to teach that song for sure. But I think, anyway, we'll see. I do where I'm led to go by. See, I'm led. I learned to listen to my intuition, inner knowing, and I hope it's always aligned to the divine. You know, I don't want it aligned with my egotism self. So when the divine is your shepherd, you lack nothing. You're not in any kind of lack. You can let go. When Jesus says, do not be anxious about the morrow, you know, about tomorrow. Don't have worried thought about it, for today has enough. There's enough in today. And then in today you can say, give us this day our daily bread, the super substantial, the spiritual nourishment that we need to be loving all the time, to be at ease, to surrender all our requests before the divine and say, hey, you know, these are all my requests as I see them. I see this needs to be balanced and this needs to be, you know, it's like I have my budget and my finances and my job and my career and my future and my children and whatever else, you know, my mind, my emotions. And just, I wanted to say one more thing about that is, if you're a sensitive person, we're so connected with the internet and everything now that I feel like we're more connected, and so in more ways than ever. And so if you're a sensitive person, you can be picking up on the collective and not realize that you're just picking up on the collective, and you feel all these intense emotions and you think that they're your own and for yourself to go through. I really encourage you to keep asking the divine to take those from you, and ask the divine, what is my own for me to process, and what am I just, when we're abused or something in childhood, or, you know, when there's an imbalance, let's just say, because our parents didn't get the perfect parent manual, you know, and not that they would have followed it anyway had they got it, but then they put a bunch of their psychological pain and burden on us, and so you learn as a child to be a quote good child, to take that on, and so you learn really well to take that on in order for your parents to get by so that you still have parents. So you're trying to regulate your parents by taking on all their BS, their belief systems and their pain and their stuff. And so you learn how to take that on in order to try to regulate them so you have parents that show up for you in some capacity. All right. And so just imagine if there's all this collective energy of a bunch of people going through fear from whatever is going on in our world at the moment, or sadness or depression or loneliness because people isolated for a long time. You know, look, always and forever. The love is always here. Divine love will never leave you. It's part of you. You are made out of it. You're made out of it, right? So just know that you don't have to take all that on. You just learned how to do that as a child. So that's for someone. That's for a bunch of us. Because I know I was doing that. And then I'd get so overwhelmed by this sadness. And I thought it was this sadness of, oh, wow, look. I thought it was the sadness of my own life. I have this keychain for someone else, but it says Moxie, but in the middle there's an XO. I see XO everywhere, and that's always the divine's message to me. Hugs and kisses. Elliot, my friend that's passed on, Elliot Smith, had an album called XO. XO, Mom. But it's we're in the oneness, and when you die to yourself, the X can become a cross. When you die to this lower part of yourself and to taking on all this stuff that's not yours to take on. You just did it to be a good little boy or a good girl, or to survive in childhood, you know? You don't have to take that on anymore. That's not yours to take on. So just, but XO, exit out, and then go back into the oneness. We're talking about the oneness. We come from the oneness. Here's the oneness. The peace is inside the oneness. You're connecting back to the divine. This is you making the I am your shepherd. You know, it's how you align. Anyway, it'll come up more in this. This won't go on forever. I know. So the Lord is my shepherd, therefore I lack nothing. There's no thing I lack. Elliot sang that in a song. Everything means nothing to me. Everything means nothing. When you've detached yourself from things, and even this thing of identifying so much with this form in your body. I was listening to Eckhart Tolle the other day, and he was saying, he wrote The Power of Now, which I taught a class on the power of now, on the essence of what we get in that book. You know, that was just like our touch point for how, and it's a long class. You can take 3 months of it, or 6 or 12. But anyway, when I was reading him, he was like, just play. You're playing with form. This is a play, you know, be in the play, that you enjoy life so much more. It just comforts me to like go like this with my hair, I guess. It's just like, it's like petting my sweet little, it grounds you. It can ground you, you know? So anyway, then I lack no thing because I'm not connected to things. It doesn't matter if I have a fancy purse or fancy makeup or, you know, what, you know, because this body that I'm in, look, I guess I try to exercise it all I can and like stay really fit, because why not, you know, it's this body is a gift to me. It's a gift to you. Hi. This body is a gift. So like, yeah, we want to exercise it and keep it in good shape, because that's honoring this gift that you have best you can. And you'll learn more how, you know, as you separate out from those voices. I forgot that my alarm went off, so there's a lot more video than just this. I thought we were only 30 minutes in, but we're not, because my alarm went off when we were 10 minutes in or so. So the Lord is my shepherd, therefore I can lack nothing. I lack nothing. He feeds me in green pasture. He, she, the name Yahweh, the I am, Yah is feminine, Way is masculine. So even the name of God is like this. I'm holding my phone, or else I do it. If you do two sides of a heart and you unify them, it's one. It's the masculine and feminine. Even Adam was taken out. Eve was taken out of the half of Adam, you know. If you read the mystic Torah commentaries, they talk about that. It's like they were one, because God is one. And so there's shepherdesses as well. Even in Rebecca, I think, was one, or Rachel, whoever was at the well. Anyway, the divine love feeds me in green pastures. That means the pastures that have true food. Your egotism and the world and your flesh, or whatever you want to call it, the enemy of our soul, will promise you all sorts of green pasture and say you get it from this way. You get it from, achieving, from building up your bank account, from getting accolades, from everyone honoring you and liking you and being famous and having a bunch of likes and stuff and followers, But then once you get to those places, that's why really, really wealthy people can sometimes be depressed, really depressed, because they've achieved all that stuff and they're like, I'm here. Why am I still empty? Because you're not in your I am. That stuff is not going to fill you. It's not going to give you the true green pastures and the peace, the real peace that you want in this oneness, And even fake spirituality, all sorts of heresies and false spirituality can come and try to say this, you can get it quick this way, and you don't have to have any boundaries in your life or any limitations. Just do this and you can have it all, watch, just, you'll learn from falling, and from feeling lost again and knowing, wait, that's not it again, I know Sage Robbins, Tony Robbins' wife, will say they just needed to satiate in that a little bit more, I just heard her at a conference. We were at a private conference, and so I loved how she said it. It's just like, well, they'll just satiate a little bit more in that and see that it's not filling them up, it's not giving you what you want, what you truly want. But the divine will bring you into true green pastures and lead you beside the waters. The still waters is what some people call it. The stillness. Where if you throw a rock in, it ripples out. And just imagine if that stillness is love. The love is always, it's living water, will always ripple out to you in love and more perfect love, right? So beside the waters of comfort, the true waters that will come forth, they'll comfort you because they fill you up with what you truly need. The other stuff will fill you up in the moment. And it looks like, it's just like, oh yeah, I got a hot boyfriend. I got a hot girlfriend. Like, I got everything. I'm in love, and you get all of the endorphins of new love. And then it's just like, people will wake up and be like, wait, what did I just do? I don't know this person's character. And I was just trying to run away from my old pain because I didn't know this depth of love in the being of my own soulness, I didn't know how to treat myself or other people with true love and true dignity and not abandon them when it became convenient for me to abandon them, to walk away and just not care anymore. Just like people didn't care about my heart, I can choose not to care about other hearts, but we don't want that. Just care deeply, love others as you wish them to love you. And even if it's hard and you were never taught how to do that, be courageous and go there and communicate, hey, I jumped into this and I'm too scared of this relationship, or too scared of actually being vulnerable, or I don't know what it is. So I just want some space to try to figure that out. I just don't want to act on my courage to go into a real relationship or whatever it is, I don't know. That's just stuff. Okay. So he leads me before the still water and to comfort me. Comforts me when I get into this essence, when I know my own self beyond my name and my form and my bank account and my status and my past, my past mistakes. Ask the divine, Forgive us our debts as we forgive those who have debts against us. God, I have all divine love. I have all these debts of where I didn't love perfectly. Help me let those go. I give those to you as well. Help me not hold those against myself so I can know myself in this God essence that you know me in, this love that's in the now, that's in the now. That's in innocence. You're back in innocence, true innocence. You comfort my soul. This says convert my soul, but Lord is my shepherd, therefore I lack nothing. He leads me beside quiet waters. He leads me to green pastures. He leads me to quiet waters. You restore, that's the word. You restore my soul. You restore me to my soul self. Restore, revive, bring me back into alignment with who I am in the oneness, who I truly am. You restore my soul. You bring me forth in the paths of righteousness. Don't worry about righteousness like I'm religious, so I do this and this and I don't do this and this. No, just look at it like right wayness. Like my train was off the track and I'm being brought, and it's still wild and alive and so vibrant. It feels so great. You watch my skating videos where I'm like doing the splits on skates. I really like go down and do the splits, and I'm just wild because it's wildness, but it feels like people on the outside think it's going to be stifling, but you're brought back into this oneness and everything is in the oneness. You're stifled when you're controlled by all your desires that say, I have to have another drink, I have to have another coffee, I have to have caffeine to function, I have to have alcohol to numb my pain. Well, just what if you just like got rid of that pain? Then you don't have to numb it with anything, And what if you learn how to connect deeply with yourself and with the divine? Then you know how to find good, trustworthy friends. Then you're not worried about people betraying you, because you're not attracted to them. They repel. You repel them, and they're repelled from you. So you bring me forth in the paths, the ways of right wayness, of aligned with the right way. Even if you think of when Christ says, I am the way, don't think of Christ saying like, hey, I'm this great person for you to follow. Regardless of what he's saying, understand the mystic path is understand I am. When you're in this I am connected back with the divine, you're in the way, and Christ lived the way. St. Augustine said the way of Christianity that we now call Christianity was there long before we called it. Like, I believe that David, who was said to be in the heart of God, a man after God's heart, was in the way. Maybe he had lost his way and we all can. And so we're asking the divine to bring us back. Oh, there's an animal. Oh no. There's a person. It's a person. Thank God. Because there are coyotes and stuff up here, but the Lord is our shepherd, so I gotta trust. So you're brought back in the way of right wayness, which is just aligned with perfect love. That's it. You're just aligned with perfect love, not my idea of it, not the world's idea of it, whatever perfect love is. I heard this teacher the other day. He said, if Christ is your shepherd, or if the divine love is your shepherd, where is he leading you? It's like, well, we don't know. That's why it's scary. We'd rather take control, and our egotism always wants control. And so it will go, oh, this way worked before, let's do this. It's like, no, it's a new, higher way of alignment, because you've learned these levels of alignment with divine love. Now you're going to a higher level. And so it's an unknown to you. And so he was just talking in general about when people would go out into the wilderness to learn what Christ was teaching them. And they are in this place in the quiet, deep in the quiet, and they hadn't eaten. And then he provided food in the middle of this place where it didn't look like there was food, because there wasn't. There's just a kid with fish and bread, and he multiplied it. And so we don't know where he's going to multiply. It looks like, I'm going into an empty bank account or something like that, or I'm going into a dead-end job, when I know my old secure job is less creative and just in this office, but it can bring in enough for me to live on in this old way. But like, why not risk it and create innovative, artistic, spiritual depth ways for us to heal, right? So passive right wayness, for his name's sake. What is the name of God? The name of God is the I am and divine love. There's a person over there, so I'm like, and so for the sake of the name of the divine, he will keep leading us, because his name is on our hearts. We are God consciousness in body form. So what Teresa of Avila says, Saint Teresa of Avila from the 1300s, she said it that way. She said, Christ has no body now but mine. Oh, that's funny, because I was like, I just got the inclination to start walking regardless of that person. Is yea, though I walk through the valley. Yeah, that's why it's so funny. We're going to walk back. Yea. And it doesn't matter where my camera goes. Just, here, I'll show you. Weird. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. This is our experience. When we get the hi, great job. Look, there's a valley as well. When we hold on. Come over here, Lila. When we get this experience, of the valley in our life, the dark times, when we get that experience, it feels like we're facing death. Just like what I was saying, it feels like it's a kind of death to your egotism. It's a death to that part of you that wants to control and always be in control. Even when I walk through that part. Here, I'm going to walk past these guys.
They've been thumbs up.
Morning.
Morning. They've been thumbs up.
Even though I walk through the valley, and it looks really, really dark when you're going through the valley of the shadow of death. It's like the dark night of the soul. I have lots of videos if you want to learn about that. Oof. And I remember when Tony Robbins was speaking at the conference I was at, and I'm, use your own discernment for everything. Okay? But he was describing the tunnel really well. He called it the tunnel, the king. If you're on the king path and the queen path, you go through a tunnel, and it's always longer than you expected. And it's really painful, let me tell you. He had all of us, he's like, if you're in the tunnel right now, stand up and just, it was great. It was a great release. But I'm not identified with the tunnel. Like, you're more than the tunnel, but just love people when you're in the middle of the tunnel of your life, the shadow of death. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, it feels like death. In our physical body, it feels like death. I just got low battery, so I gotta finish this up. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I don't fear any evil. Why would I fear any evil? Because I know the experience of being one with divine love. Because I've given myself the experience of stillness, of being one with the shepherd, the true shepherd, the I am, the love, the oneness, that which is higher than this duality that we're living in. And I know the feeling of that, it's in that song, I was expressing it in that song. Even though I was skating to a different song, that song was still expressing the same thing. I was realizing that this morning, Real Eyes, that song was expressing the same message as the Chicago song I heard yesterday that I put on top of it, Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Nothing that is in the good and the evil. You know what I mean? I won't fear the evil, because though the evil is it's real here, it's also an illusion. Unless I give my power over to it. And then, it's like if I give my power over to my pain, or like, let's just say if I kept letting some guy or something control me, or some circumstance control me, then I'm experiencing that evil because I'm identified with it. I keep giving more and more power to that. And so I will fear no evil, because I know this divine, the unity, and I know how to connect back with that. And I know that the Lord is my shepherd. And so I can always return. Oh, I didn't know the sun was going to be right there. I can always return back to that, right? Even though I walk through the valley of shadow of the death, I will fear no evil, for the sun always calls me back. The sun is, the Lord is with me. The I am is with me, you know? Christ showed this. Christ lived this way. Christ was a descendant of David. And so as David lived this way, Christ lived this way. So he always shows how to get back in alignment. If you just look at his words, not what other people have said about him per se. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Thou art with me. That's what this is a Old English or something, you know. Thou art with me. That's why I said art was going to come back up. You know, you art with me. You do art with me. You get me back into the beauty of art, of nature. You know, you art with me, God. I know that you are with me, and because you're with me, because I'm back in the divine. For thou art with me. You and me are one, for thou art with me. I'm back in the one, I'm back in the love, always and forever, you know? Those were bicyclists just speeding down this. All right, so thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The rod, there's one that beats off the enemies, you know, like the wolves that come at you, he staves them off. And the other one is like a hook. And so when you're going off that cliff, you know, over there, he catches you. I mean, but don't test the Lord by trying to jump off cliffs, you know, I don't recommend that. But the rod pulls you back to the oneness. And so it's the discipline. It's like no one likes discipline when it's happening. You know, we hate it. And we're like, this feels like torture. But it's more torture to be lost, and to be lost in your egotism, and to be giving yourself all your power over to addictions. I know that. Like, it sucks. It feels really painful and horrible. So your rod and your staff, when you discipline me, not in a mean way, but you pull me back with that hook, and you're like, like, no, I don't want to be in the oneness, you know. This looks like I'm going to have more control. I don't want to go into the wilderness and just trust that you're going to feed me, you know. I want to provide all my own sustenance, you know. I want to go after my own fame and whatever, you know. It's so boring when you see. But anyway, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. And then it's like, you shall prepare a table before me in the presence of all of them that trouble me. You prepare a table. You're preparing me this place of a true meal, the meal of, like, when Christ says, when they asked him how to pray, our Father art in heaven, hallowed be, give us this day our daily bread. That's the word supersubstance. It's the manna that comes from heaven. Manna means ma tarot say. What is it you say? What is it? It's like, what is it? What is this substance? What is this thing that you're preparing on this table? I don't know this. I only know what I kept trying to procure for myself. You know, the addictions and lusts of the flesh, or whatever you want to call it, that I kept going back to, that I kept thinking would fill me, but they weren't. You prepare a table before me in the presence of them that trouble me, in the presence of my enemies. Well, this is all the old parts of you, you know. I'm just hearing Elliot's song, so sick and tired of all these pictures of me. Oh, I know, in his song Between the Bars, he's like, where I'm seeing you now with your hands in the air. The people you've been before that you don't want around anymore, that push and shove and won't bend to your will, I'll keep them still. It's like God will protect you from the enemies around you, and then protect you from the enemies within yourself that kept misleading you, you know, that you just learned from childhood. You learned on automatic. And so you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup shall be overflow. My cup shall be full. When you sit in this anointing, the anointing is what is done to a priest or a priestess, or a prophet, or a prophetess, or a king, or a queen. They're anointed with oil. And the word Christ means oil. Anointed means Christos. You're anointed one. It means anointed. It doesn't mean oil. It means anointed. And they anointed you with oil. And the oil is like the Holy Spirit. When you connect back with the divine, it's like your car getting an oil change. You know, you're getting this oil of the Holy Spirit in your life, and you're being renewed. You must be born anew, back in the oneness again. So you anoint me with oil. My cup is overflowing. It's overflowing when I'm in that place, because I see reality more aligned with how it actually is. I'm not just seeing in this dualistic world, I'm seeing in the oneness. Surely thy loving kindness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Chesed, mercy, it's like loving kindness. Mercy is like another kind of oil, the oil of love, but shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So let's walk while we contemplate that, as my phone's gonna go put a battery. Oh shoot, I can only put an hour on Instagram, so I better wrap this up. The last part is I dwell in the house. The house, Beth, the word Beth in Hebrew is house. But you're dwelling. You dwell. You learn by discipline, by practice, to live in this house. You know, in my house are many mansions. I go and prepare a house for you. But this is, you know, Christ came from Bethlehem, which is like the house of bread, which is manna, which is this mysterious substance. You're learning how to live on this mysterious substance in the unity and the oneness of the divine. I dwell in this house. You know, I get lost and I go into all these other houses, and then I'm crying again because I'm satiating. It's like I go to the unclean, the pig's food, and I'm, you know, like the prodigal son that goes out and takes all the inheritance and squanders it, you know. All right, I wish you much love. There's so much more. You know, I could talk for like 8 hours on this. But I want to give you this. This is definitely something I could sell as a course. All right, I wish you so much love.